Hello friends, it's Kristie Marcotte. Queen & Company is currently having an amazing sale for National Scrapbooking Day. The sale starts on May 1st. I am sharing a few cards I made using one of the sale items, a cute camera die set. If you want to go check out the sale first, I have a direct link in the description box. Then come on back and watch the rest of my video. For all three of my cards, I'm going to use this adorable camera die. I am such a shutterbug, I just can never resist anything with cameras. For my first card, I'm going to use the Happy Hearts paper collection, and then also some of Queen & Company's foam glitter sheets. So these are really fun and they're self-adhesive, and the pink is my favorite color in the whole rainbow collection. So just to warn you, this first card has a lot of pink in it and it's so much fun. So I went ahead and cut out the camera using the pink glitter foam. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of some pink cardstock across the camera just to add a little extra detail. And then the background of the card is just this really nice tone-on-tone chevron gray paper. And then for the camera lens, I decided to cut out that circle, the little O, twice just to add a little extra dimension to it. And then for the inside of the camera, the actual lens I guess, I used just a small scrap of some silver mirror cardstock just to make it actually look a little more realistic. Although I guess not everybody would have a pink camera, but I would if I could find one. And then for the sentiment, I'm using the You're Awesome, and this is part of the Sentiment Stacker Set number 2. It comes with a whole bunch of sentiment dies, but it also has a little stamp set. So I just used the stamp set, and then also one of the little stitch banners, which is part of one of the foundation sets. And now I'm just going to add a little bit of pink twine. See, I warned you there's going to be a lot of pink on this card. And I'm just going to wrap it around the bottom of the card, so it's going to go behind that banner sentiment. And I debate about adding a bow, but I changed my mind, so it's just going to be the two little layers of the pink twine. And just to hold that twine in place behind the card, I just used some small pieces of score tape. And now I'll just go ahead and adhere that card front onto a card base. Figure my placement for my camera as well as my sentiment. And since that sentiment is going over the twine, it does add a little bit of dimension. I'm just going to put some thin strips of foam dimension to kind of sandwich around that twine piece. So that way it's nice and level on the card. One of the great things about Queen & Company's fun foam is that it's self-adhesive. So just real easy, peeled off the backing on the camera and then just adhered it straight to my card. And then I wanted the flash to have a little different color rather than the pink sparkly. So I just have a small piece of white pearlescent paper, and I still wanted it level with the camera, so I just put a small piece of the foam tape behind there. And then to embellish my card, I just used a couple of the really cute pink flowers. And then I pulled out a couple different blings. So I have the Petite Posies, which are one of my favorites, and then also the Iridescent Goosebumps. So I'm just putting a few around the sentiment and then a couple of them up in the corner. So there is my first card. Isn't that fun? Nice and pink and sparkly. So now moving on to card number 2. I used the Picture Perfect paper collection along with the Spring glitter paper. I've already gone ahead and cut out all of the pieces. I'm just using some white pearlescent paper for the background, and I used a stitched rectangle die, and then I'm going to layer all of that in some black cardstock. And I'm using a sentiment from the window shaped shaker kit. This is a Happy Hello. I always like having very general sentiments whenever I can. That way you can use the card for any occasion. And since I am stamping this on some pearlescent paper, I want to make sure I get a nice good impression, and I do use some archival ink because it seems to not smudge as much. Another option would be to heat emboss the sentiment. For For behind the camera, I'm just putting a tone-on-tone blue pattern paper, and I did matte that as well with some black cardstock. And now I'll just go ahead and put some ATG on the back of the camera die cut. And just to get in all those narrow edges, I used some liquid adhesive as well. So I'll make sure that is straight on my card, and then I'm going to put the little yellow piece of cardstock in where the flash is on the camera. I used some of the glitter paper to cut out the lens of the camera, and so I am placing both of the pieces together, but then I popped out the center on that second glitter piece because I'm going to make a shaker card. Previously, this kit was released as a shaker kit, but currently now it is just the die, but it's still so simple to put together a quick and easy shaker card. I used a circle die to cut out the acetate piece, and now I'm using some foam dimensional tape that's folded in half, and then I removed the backing. That way it's really easy to manipulate around this circle. And then I chose a couple different toppings. So I have the diamonds as well as the pearlies. So I'm going to go ahead and put them on the actual card. And I was trying to keep the pearlies sort of in the center of the diamonds because they kept rolling away. So you see me keep picking them up and moving them. And then I'll just go ahead and put that shaker window on top just to seal in all of those toppings. To embellish the card, I cut out some stitch stars using some more of the glitter paper, and these star dies are part of one of the foundation sets. There's 3 different sizes, so it's so nice to have a good variety. And then I also pulled out some more of the bling. I have some of the jelly gems as well as the iridescent goosebumps. So I'm just putting a few of them around the sentiment and then a few more around the stars. And I keep changing my mind where I want to put the bling that's down in the left-hand corner that's near the sentiment. So I do pull them up, and unfortunately when you remove them, the little glue dot that is behind does come off separate. So later I'll have to use a little bit of liquid adhesive to adhere those for a future card. And then just one final touch, I just wanted to add a couple little layered banners in that upper left-hand corner using one of the little stitched banner dies. And at this point, I'm still undecided how much bling I want to add, so I did do another one by the sentiment and then just one more little jelly gem up by the stars. So there is card number 2. Even though Queen & Company makes the easiest shaker cards, it's still so simple to put them together without the coordinating foam and acetate pieces. Now moving on to card number 3. I used the Magical Characters 6x6 paper collection. Even though I would be perfectly happy with all pink and sparkly cameras, I wanted to use a nice variety of different paper collections and colors. I used this sweet little Mickey head paper to cut out the camera, and then just added that little strip of the chevron paper going across the middle. And then again, I have some specialty cardstock for the lens. So this is some satin mirror paper. And then I decided I wanted to heat emboss the sentiment this time. So I'm using one of the sentiments from the Magical Characters kit. This is I'm All Ears, and I really want it to stand out, so I'm going to emboss it using some white embossing powder. So first I just add some anti-static powder, and then I use some Versamark ink and I stamp it a few times to make sure I get a really good impression. So I always have a few little stray pieces even with the anti-static powder, and I just went ahead and wiped those off. Now I have my pink embossing gun, and I just went and heat set that. And then I'll add a little extra adhesive to the back because it has been heat embossed. It does warp just slightly. And now I'll go ahead and place my camera die cut on my card. And for this card, I did decide to pop up the whole camera using some foam dimensional tape. And I want to make sure to get a nice even coverage so none of the sides sag at all. So you're going to see I cover up the whole thing using some little thin pieces for that top part of the camera. Then I'll just get all of those backers removed. And this camera die is quite large, so there's not a lot of different designs you could use, but this would be great if you do traditional scrapbooking or if you make larger size cards. All of my cards are A2 size, so I am a little limited on where I can use this camera. So now I want to add just a few embellishments. So I'm using some of the stickums, and these are the star shapes. And then I'm also using some of the yellow foil. And the stickums work just beautifully with Queen & Company's foil. So I'm just going to select a couple different sizes, and these are pretty small. I'm trying to decide where I'm actually going to place them on the card. And then I go ahead and remove the clear backing from the little stars, press that onto the foil, and then just give it a really good firm rub to make sure I get nice even coverage with the foil. And then they just peel right off just like a little sticker. So I put 2 of the little stars on that chevron piece. And then I decided to add 3 of them in that upper right hand corner. I did a little larger size and then 2 of the smaller sizes. And I did need to go and cut out just 1 more of the larger stars to put in that upper corner. And Queen & Company sells a large variety of different shapes of their stickums. So I will have a link in the description for all of the products that I use in this video. And now for a final touch, I'm going to use some of the black jelly gems. And I'm just going to put 1 on each side of the little stars on that chevron piece in the middle of the camera. And I'm trying to make sure to get them straight and even, trying to follow the little chevron lines. And then once I'm sure, I push them on there nice and snug. So there is my finished card. And now here's just a quick recap of the 3 cards I made using Queen & Company's camera die set. This is a die that is included in their National Scrapbooking Day sale. They have a lot of other products at amazing prices. There's a few kits, there's some flowers, lots of different bling collections. So I will have links in the description box if you want to go and check out their sale. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.